So we are still here at the, I think we're still here. Yeah, we're still here. We're still here at the Real Deal Forum, doing episodes of Close Live, and I am really thrilled to have with us now Erin Hosler. Got the name right?
You did.
All right. I think I'm like.
Thank you. I know we talked
about
it, but you got it.
4 for 4 today.
Yeah.
Maybe I should just close up shop now. She is the Director of Residential Hospitality at First Service Residential New York. Erin came to property management by way of 3 decades of training service teams at some of the most recognizable names in luxury hospitality, the Ritz-Carlton, Soho House, the Langham, many more. We're going to talk about kind of translating the luxury brand to the residential hospitality feel. So first off, thanks for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. So you've trained at the Ritz-Carlton, Soho House, built on, I think Ritz-Carlton has a structured service step of, maybe you could walk us through what that is, because I've heard about it before, but
yeah, it's really great, and it's interesting stepping into this role, because in the past when I've been in the hotel spaces, social clubs, and wellness spaces, I've been like the general manager or the managing director of the building. So I'm now the trainer, and I got to develop the program. So I did a lot of research, and I went back to my very beginning, and that was with Horst Schulze. Horst was the original founder of Ritz-Carlton. Back in the day, he was working for Hyatt, who was doing really well. A group of investors reached out to him one day and said, "We want you to form a hotel company." So he formed Ritz-Carlton. And Horst's main philosophy in life is to create excellence. And that came to him at the age of 14. He left his home and he went to go work in a grand hotel, I'm sure, in Europe, and the general manager met him on his first day of work, and he was going to be a porter or dishwasher or something. And I can just see the general manager probably, in this beautiful, European hotel, probably in a nice blue suit with a nice white shirt and a nice Hermes tie or whatever. And he said to Horst, "When you come here tomorrow, I don't want you to create work. I want you to create excellence." And so it really inspires me. And so I have woven, much of this into my training, Horst's philosophy. In service itself, it's just 3 steps.
Yeah.
It's a warm welcome. It's good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's doing the task at hand and then sending the guest, the resident, off with a fond farewell. May I assist you with anything else today? I'm here until 3 o'clock. If you need anything, my name is Erin. I'm here to help you. So I think all of that translates very well over into the residential space as well.
Walk us through how First Service and you at First Service is kind of working to translate that model to residential. Because I agree with you, it does translate, but I'm curious to hear how you're doing it.
So, my main responsibility is that I am in the new development division, but I do help support the rental division here in New York, and also the condo co-op division as well. And the main goal with new development is that before the team actually starts to work in the buildings, I get them first. It's a 2-hour training session. We talk about being your best self. I talk about core values. In some of our buildings, it's really great. They develop their own core values, their own brand standards and whatnot, because it needs to speak to the brand of what that building is.
Right.
And so I'll weave that into my training. But it's so important to get these team members in the very beginning, because what you're doing is you're creating an alignment with them as a group. And I have a not on my watch type of philosophy as well within my training, because I want everybody to work together cohesively as a team to understand it's one dream, one team, one dream type of philosophy. So,
and what have been some of the challenges for you in trying to transfer over the Ritz-Carlton mentality, the Soho House, I think, has a no ego mentality, right?
Yeah.
What are the biggest difficulties in transferring that over?
I honestly have not had any challenges yet.
You're too good.
No, it's great. And, I really enjoy when I get assigned a building to go to the building and to go work with a team, and specifically an already established building, because I get to meet these team members, and they work so hard on a daily basis, and I get to thank them for the job of what they do. And I think that this is what we need more of, is to thank people for the job of what they do versus telling them what they're not doing right. We need positive reinforcement. And so I think that this training, it brings it into that space. And it makes them work collectively as a group to try to problem solve on how to figure things out in order to make things more seamless for the resident, and as well to create wow moments for the resident as well. I gave an example upstairs in the panel discussion. Wouldn't it be great if you were living in a building and let's say the concierge found out that it was your birthday, and then they went down to CVS to buy a happy anniversary card, and then the entire team in the building signed the card and then sent that up to your apartment? How would they make you feel?
Great, amazing.
Exactly, it's a feeling, and that's what I want to create in these spaces is a positive feeling.
Yeah, I think we had a podcast episode with the CEO of Sage.
Yeah.
And Sage is very focused on, very similar to what you're talking about, which is a feeling, a brand, transferring the hospitality feel of going to a Four Seasons to life, or in Sage's situation, office space, right? Tenants feeling like they're in a luxury brand. And I think it really does come down to less about the amenities and more about, do I feel like a human being, and do I feel like I'm being heard and seen?
Correct. I mean, we were all placed on this planet to serve of some sort, and as well as human beings, we want to be seen, heard, and understood, loved, whatever you want to, use that word as far as that third word. I like the word loved. Exactly.
Yeah.
The resident wants to be seen, they want to be heard, but as well, it is our responsibility to be stewards of the buildings. Our mission within First Service is to deliver exceptional service that enhances the value of the property and the life of every resident. And so I talk to the teams about this. Like if I get assigned a building, I'm like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I noticed that you have a penthouse apartment that's for sale and it's $18 million. So I try to put it in perspective for them.
Yeah.
It's not even the $18 million. These people also now have to pay common charges. They also might have to pay assessment fees. And they haven't just purchased just that apartment, they've purchased into the entire building. And it's our responsibility to protect the value of that. And I say to the team, what is the number one way that what everybody says on how to create wealth? It's through real estate and buying real estate. And so that's what people are doing. So I try to break it down.
But it was scratch-off tickets.
Yeah, you scratch-off tickets. Those also work, but then, what's the probability of you going to win is the whole other, answer to that. So anyways, I'm super thankful that First Service has brought this on board. I think that we're one of the only management companies in the United States that has this.
Yeah.
We have this program in South Florida. There's a team of about 12 to 15 that support all of our buildings in South Florida with this program. We just brought somebody on in California. To my understanding, we might have somebody as well in Texas. So I think it's really great that First Service places value in training its associates.
I'll jump in because I'm going to point out that Lee is actually 4 for 4 for also not acknowledging that I'm on the podcast, so I'm just an odd voice that comes in like 10 minutes in.
I'm doing it for comedic purposes.
When she said people want to be seen and heard, I was going to say, I'm here by the...
You're here, you're in the corner, I see you.
Because not everybody's watching the podcast.
I'm trying to create a luxury experience for Mike.
Yeah, it's okay. I have no ego about this, but I'll just jump in at this point. But you had mentioned coming in and dealing with teams that were already in place on some of these buildings. Do you prefer that? Because it sounded like you were actually more optimistic than I was expecting you to be, talking about coming into a building that has existing staff. How does that compare with a new building where maybe you're training them before there are any residents? And do you actually prefer to have a staff that's already in place?
I prefer to have the staff in the very beginning, yes.
Okay.
I mean, it is, I'm going to be transparent. It is sometimes a little bit more challenging if the team is already established. And then,
I would think,
come in like, who is she? But, like I said, I haven't had any of those challenges yet. And when I first started my direct report, he and I did talk about sometimes, what am I going to do about the doorman that's been standing at the door for 40 years? And he has this type of mentality, like how am I going to break into that?
Right.
I haven't had that challenge yet. Everybody's drinking my Kool-Aid. So I'm pretty happy.
Right. That's excellent.
How does, what unique challenges, if any, do co-op and condo boards present to, I know obviously the management company is distinct, the board's going to kind of do what it's supposed to do, and management's going to do what it's supposed to do, but in practice that doesn't always happen. There's some stepping on each other's feet. Some boards want more control than other boards over amenities, over how the staff operates, over a perceived bad actor or a good actor. So how is that kind of interacted, if at all, with your training?
It doesn't really impact me that much.
Yeah.
It impacts me when we find out that the boards are not happy with the service that is being delivered within their buildings. And so I then get to understand, like, what is it that you're looking for?
Yeah.
And then I try to tailor it around that. I'll give an example. One of our buildings in the city, I tailored an entire training for that team around celebrities and around handling high-touch individuals, because everybody needs to be treated the same as well in the building, quite honestly,
right.
Regardless of who you are. I mean, we're all human beings. We all have the same expectations when you're purchasing into this gorgeous building. But I went in and I tailored the training around, we don't ask for autographs. We don't ask for, we don't ask for for photos. We don't post on social media. We do not talk about our residents. We are here to be professionals at the end of the day, and that's what the resident wants.
Right.
So.
And I'm sure, to your point, the more well-known resident doesn't want to be treated differently.
No, they don't, quite honestly. And it's funny in my hotel world, and I've been very fortunate to work for some amazing brands and for visionaries where I was handling celebrities. I mean, I worked for Ian Schrager in Miami at the Delano in the late 90s and the 2000s. I handled all of his VIPs and all of his celebrities. And getting to meet them as individuals.
Were you ever starstruck? Anybody that really were?
I'm not going to. I don't tell. I don't tell. I don't tell. But
I just asked if you were starstruck.
Yes.
I didn't ask who it was.
Okay, very good. But the point is, in the very beginning of all that, is that they just want to be treated as normal human beings at the end of the day. So.
Makes sense. No. Well, and a lot of these buildings, you mentioned this earlier, they're putting all these amenities in and all these amazing spaces, and so the gap between what you see physically and the service you're getting, I imagine in some of these buildings it's a huge gap.
There is a gap, and I mean, it's really, it's something that, we have to constantly work with the team and the third-party team sometimes that manage those amenity spaces. They always need to be in show status at all times. And, part of my training, I like to say, you never know. Vogue magazine might be calling to say that Pamela Anderson's coming to do a photo shoot in your building. It's happened.
Yep.
So your buildings always have to be in show status at all times. When you go into the gym and the weight room, I love to see the weights, they're all lined up perfectly and the numbers are all aligned. Or into the library, the pillars are fluffed. And I'll walk around our buildings and I'll straighten things up all the time. I mean, I was in a building today on the Upper West Side, and I was upstairs on the rooftop with the resident manager, and I was rearranging all the patio furniture for him. So
can't help yourself.
I can't. I mean, it's who I am. It's my nature. It's part of my culture. And so that's part of my training with them is that, I'm not going to do anything that I'm not going to ask somebody else to go do.
I feel like it's those little, and we were talking to this about, I guess, Justin from Charney before. It's those little touches, right? It's not so much, again, people, I mean, who wouldn't love a beautiful pool or a spa or a pickleball court? You want it. That's what sells you there. What keeps you there, what keeps you happy, what gets you talking about the building in a positive way are the little things, the experiences, not the
culture
pool.
Within the building.
Right.
It's the culture.
Yeah. Sounds like that's what you're focused on. It feels more and more like office and residential are beginning to take the lessons from the hospitality industry and incorporating them. Why do you think that is? Is that a function of a post-COVID office and housing environment, or is it something?
I think hospitality is in all sectors, quite honestly.
Yeah.
It really is. It really is. And any type of service industry, is 3/4 of our GOP. So it translates across many different sectors and verticals.
Well, Erin, we appreciate all the time today.
No, thank you for inviting me. I was super honored.
If people, you definitely shouldn't be honored, but we're honored to have you.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
If any of the boards out there are listening or developers are listening and they want to find out more about what First Service does and how they can bring your luxury standards to their building, where should they go? What should they look for?
They should find me on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Find me at First Service. More than happy to have a conversation and figure that all out for them. So.
This is great. Thanks so much, Erin. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.